This Homeland's greatest exports. It's the ridiculously talented Damian Lewis.
Hello, Lum. All right.
Damian Lewis, how you doing? Great to have you here, Damian. Sit down, get comfortable. Wow. Looking dapper, looking very dapper.
Well, Molly Ringwald could do it, I thought.
Pretty in pink. Hey, congratulations on Homeland. It's a tremendous show to watch. Your performance in it, which is central to the whole success and quite a thing to carry, I would have thought, that whole show. But you've been praised and lauded for it, quite rightly. Just won the Emmy for it as well.
Yes, I did. Very nice of you to bring that up so early.
Let's support that.
Yeah, very nice, very nice. My children actually thought I was nominated for an Emma. So, which the Americans didn't like, thought it was a bit disrespectful.
Well, how are the Americans with British actors taking these plum roles? Because, of course, Hugh Grant has done great out there. Not Hugh Grant, well, the other one, Hugh Laurie. I'll do that again.
Yeah. Hugh Grant's done all right, let's face it.
So, anyway, Hugh Laurie's done great out there in-house. You've done this, but, you know, you're British actors pretending to be Americans, and obviously that's a fundament of acting, but in lead roles in American series, is there any resentment, or do someone think you're American, even?
I think there are people who do still think I'm American. The first American thing I did was Band of Brothers. Of course, and then I still get people sort of saluting me in the street like I actually won the Second World War on my own. And then I talk in a slightly bumbling English accent. And they go, "Jesus, you're a Brit." And they look at me and go, "Oh, man, you're British?"
How was that work on that? That must have been quite an adventure for you, because you're a young actor and suddenly you're working on this big budget thing with Tom Hanks. I mean, it's quite a leap, I would have thought.
Yeah, it was a huge leap. You know, I was just another British actor doing interviews in, you know, damp basements in Soho, and I did 4 or 5 for this thing, and then suddenly I was whisked off to LA and I was stuck in front of Tom Hanks and Steven Spielberg, and, you know, and I thought I hadn't got the part. I met them and I went out and I got absolutely trashed that night. Got in at about 4 in the morning. Got a call at 8 o'clock in the morning after only 4 hours kit, like this, going, "Hello." And it was the casting director saying, "Stephen would like to see you at 9 o'clock. I went, "Really? Didn't I see them all yesterday?" They said, "Stephen would like to see you at 9 o'clock. So I had like 4 showers, about 16 cups of coffee, and I went in slightly sort of shaking and thought, well, I've blown this. But they gave me the role, and they're true gentlemen. In fact, I invited Tom Hanks to my 30th birthday. I was 30 and I was in LA at the time. I invited him and he said, "I can't come." He gave me a $2 bill, which is one of his things. He always gives you a $2 bill. He loves doing that to everyone. So I get to the end of the evening. I've had, you know, lots of people there. I'm trying to pay the bar, and the barman says, "Don't worry, it's been taken care of. Happy birthday from Mr. Hanks."
Wow.
And I thought it was very cool.
Wow.
He just took care of the bar bill.
And you would have drunk a lot more if you'd known that earlier.
If I'd known. I had a limit on the drinks.
Let's talk about Homeland.
Yes.
Because Homeland also is a phenomenal script, and I would have thought quite a tough role for you to play, because we do have to not always know where he's coming from. Is that difficult for you as an actor? You know, you're trying to sell us on he's going one route, but at the same time, you've got to leave it open so we can be aware that he might not be doing what we're thinking. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. Well, I think you're talking about ambiguity. Just playing ambiguity the whole way through the first season certainly was enormous fun. You know, but acting's like advocacy. You advocate for your character, and you believe in, trust and love your character, and can defend them, whatever they are going to do, even if it seems like they might be putting on a, you know,
a vest bomb,
a suicide vest, and be seemingly about to blow up the cabinet.
Let me ask you about the religious aspect of it, because it's interesting here. You have a sympathetic character in an American drama, especially in the current climate, who is an American who's become a Muslim.
Yes.
And he's become a Muslim, and quite a devout Muslim, if I read the story correctly, through choice. He wasn't brainwashed. That sort of would be the easy route, that he was out there and he was kept as a hostage and somehow they brainwashed him. But you come to the conclusion, or I came to the conclusion, that he chose that path.
Yes.
And I thought that was brave, and braver than I expected to see on an American television show.
I think, yeah, I'm very astute. I'm glad you picked that up, because it's, of course, it's a thriller. And so the American Marine who starts worshipping Allah and turns to Islam, obviously is going to be, in the context of a thriller, a suspicious character. So he is, but I stated very clearly at the beginning, before I even accepted the job, that I'd feel uneasy if there was any lazy associations drawn between violence and Islam, and wouldn't it be more subversive if actually Islam became something that was sustaining for him, was a force for good in his life, and had a sort of poetic even and you know, really influential role in his life that would be nurturing for him.
I'm not up to date, so please don't talk any more about the new episodes. Because earlier on, we were rehearsing this show, and I know that'll come as a huge surprise to all of you. But they said, here, let's have a little clips we might show. And they showed a clip, and it's an episode I haven't seen yet, OK? But it's been out over here, but I'm not up to date. So just in case there's anyone else out there, like me, who isn't up to date, I'm going to spoil it for you too. Have a look at this. What's the reaction been like from the American military, from the establishment? Because presumably they must be watching as well. They must have an idea of what you're doing with the show. It's a big hit over there.
Well, yes, it is a big hit, and then it became an even bigger hit when the President of the United States said it was his favourite show. And,
wow.
So then it was sort of, yeah, it was quite exciting. And then I worried
I hope he's not basing their foreign policy on it.
I know, yeah. We all started to worry even more at that point. And then, amazingly, really, because of the success of the show, I was invited to the White House for dinner, and then I was expecting to be sat next to the toilets, and I ended up being at his table, sitting opposite him.
Wow.
And found myself asking him and Mr. Cameron, who was sitting next to him, you know,
hold on, well, now you've taken the shine off the whole evening.
Yeah, he did turn to Dave and said, have you seen the show? And our Prime Minister went, no, well, it's, you know, we're only on the first season at home, we're only on episode 2, and, but Sam did find it on demand, and we were watching it while I was getting into my tux before dinner. So they were in their bedroom upstairs, sort of putting on, and said, darling, could you fix the tie? And just sort of looking at the first episode.
Oh, dear, that chap has strapped a bomb on himself. And so the President is a fan, he watches it and
yeah, it turns out he's a huge fan, and he said, I said, when do you watch it? And he said, aren't you supposed to be running the free world? And he said, well, on Saturday afternoons, Michelle, she takes the 2 girls, they go play tennis. I go into the Oval Office, I pretend I'm going to work, and I switch on Homeland. Oh, it was great.
So presumably, and at the end of the evening, when you have a dinner at the White House, do you get a goodie bag, or do you...?
I had to sign a box set of Homeland. Apparently the President wanted a signed box set of Homeland, and the Teamsters for Obama, which is a union out in the States, and they were keen to support Obama. They said, could you just sign this? And Claire Danes had written something really lovely and sweet, saying, I was a fan of yours long before you were a fan of ours. I thought, God, that's really stylish.
Wow.
And I thought, God, think of something great and
something
funny.
Classy,
yeah, something classy. And I went from one Muslim to another. In an indelible Sharpie. I couldn't take it back.
What's wrong with you?
I was then writing emails for the whole of the next week going, I do hope he understands irony.
One final thing. Did you send us a congratulatory text or note to President Obama that he's re-elected?
I did, yeah.
What did you say?
Congratulations on being re-elected.
So you decided not to do the Muslim joke again?
No, you know, yeah. You know, never repeat a joke, especially when it's not funny the first time.
4 more years, thank Allah. Just that would go. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Damian Lewis.